Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Kim and today I am going to be showing you my few finished projects. So leading on from last week, I showed you some of the small 3.5 inch squares that I make up randomly throughout the year and out of scrap fabric, and they literally get thrown into a drawer, and then when somebody asks me or I decide to make a cushion, I go through those little squares and pick out a selection and make up a cushion. And this is exactly what happened at Christmas. Dani, my son George's girlfriend, she asked me whether I could make up some cushions for their bed. They've just got a new bed and they bought a bright orange duvet, and they said they needed something to break up all of that orange. So Dani said she would like 2 cushions similar to the one that I'd already made, and it's downstairs on my cushion chair. And she said, could I have 2 of those cushions but with orange tones? So I thought, great, okay, I can do that. I love making them actually, they're so bright. So first of all, just to quickly recap, these are the sort of squares that I make up. So these are just basically scrap fabric pulled together. So you have your 3 strips and one of the strips is cut in half, and then a middle section is put into the middle, contrasting colour, just to make each square pop. So we have quite a lot of, I think that's tulip pink fabric, I think that's calf facet, tulip pink. So you get the idea. They're just random little 3.5 inch squares. I mean, you can make these up in any size you want, but I quite like the 3.5 inch look. So once you've made up lots of little squares, and I have a bundle here. These are my current squares at the moment, and they sit in my drawer. And every so often, especially when I don't know what to make, I will just pull a few of those together and make something up like a cosmetic bag or a cushion. And so with Dani asking for orange tones, I went through my drawer and found out all of the squares that had orange tones in them, and I managed to complete the 2 cushions that she wanted. So here's the first one. So there's lots of there's tulip pink, calf facet, I think these are all tulip pink and calf facet actually, but they're just really nice vibrant colours, and it's literally every square has some sort of orange tone in it. So that's the first one, and this is the second one. And they just make such nice cushions, because each time you bring these squares together, they're different. They're always different, and I just like making things with them because I just like bright colours, and they just pop so nicely, and they just make me smile. They're just so cheerful. Okay, so thankfully I managed to finish those for them, so I shall be popping those over to them today. I also showed you last video my fabric bundle from Lovely Jubbly for my Queen of Diamonds block of the month, so I've managed to also finish those. So here's the first one. So you can see the beautiful elephant print that came in, and they just make such beautiful vibrant diamonds. So the quilt is coming along nicely, and I'll put up a quick image of the quilt so you can see hopefully what it will look like when it's finished. And here's a corner, an edge section, and another full diamond with images of giraffes all the way around. So these are all made up from tulip pink fabrics, and she makes her fabrics work so well together, and they're an absolute delight to work with. I really do enjoy receiving my fabric bundles from her, or from Lovely Jubbly, and I'm working on those in the evening. Now, unfortunately, this week I haven't done much sewing at all because I have had to work on my tax return. I hate working on my tax return, and I put it off and put it off and put it off. And then I thought, right, you just need to get on with it. So I spent 3 days working on it this week, which meant 3 days where I was unable to sew. And I knew that if I picked up any sewing in those 3 days, I wouldn't look at my tax return again. So I had to really focus on getting my tax return finished, and I have done. It's been submitted and accepted, and it's done. So as soon as that was finished, I decided, right, I'm going to start working on my number 2 make 9, which was the Vogue 1336 dress. Now, because I haven't made this dress before, I decided that I was going to do a toile. So I usually, when I use a pattern for the first time, I will trace the pattern off onto paper. But when I make a toile, I trace the pattern straight onto muslin. So that's what I did. I've got some muslin which I bought from Minerva, and every so often I'll buy a few meters of it, so I've always got a stash of it. And I traced the pattern off directly onto the muslin, and I played around with the fit, and I got the fit that I liked. And whilst making up this pattern, I realised that it was a Sandra Bezzini Vogue pattern, and she doesn't use sizes, so she doesn't use size 8 up to 24. She uses letters, so she goes from ABC all the way up. And the nice thing about that is you don't instantly think, oh, I'm a size whatever, I'll make that size. It makes you look at the actual sizing of the bust, waist and hip. And I always like the idea of that, because I think sometimes we forget these pattern sizes do not relate to the pattern, to the sort of size of clothes you buy in a shop. So I am around about a size 16 shop size. So if I go and buy anything in the shops, I will usually start off looking at size 16, but I am not size 16 in paper patterns. And it's very hard to think of yourself as, you know, if you have to go up to size 18 or a size 20, which I have done, you suddenly think, God, that just feels huge. But it's not. You just got to sort of get it out of your head. It does have no relation at all to the size of clothing that you buy in a shop. It's completely different. So I have learned over the years, through making many mistakes, trying to sort of cut out a size 16 or even a size 14 and thinking, oh, that will fit, and I'm wasting money on not just ruining the pattern but also wasting fabric. So I always like when Sandra Bezzini's patterns come up and she uses letters. I really like the idea of that. So I made a toile of this dress. I've tried it on and I'm happy with it. So the next step is me to start to construct this dress. So I have my fabrics that I showed you, and hopefully when I see you next time, you will see a completed dress. And I'm still quite excited about getting that finished, and also using not just a pattern that's out of my stash, but also the fabric that's out of my stash. So I'm really happy with that. The other thing I wanted to discuss is my dressmaker's dummy. Now, my dressmaker's dummy is called Myrtle. She's called Moaning Myrtle because she squeaks like mad. I have had her for over 40 years, and I was actually going to dump her because she did sit up in the loft for ages, wrapped in black bin bags, and she hadn't seen daylight for so long. But I got my husband to get her down. So when I got this sewing room and my son left home about 3 years ago, I asked my husband to bring her down so I could have a look at her, and she was in a pretty bad state. She had all of the fabric around her was peeling off, and I thought, oh God, you know, I think what I'll do is I'll get rid of her and I'll just buy a new one and start afresh. But the more I thought about it, I thought, even if I buy a new one, it's still not going to be my size. I'm still going to have to pad her out and do all of that. And I thought, with Myrtle, I can still pad her out, so I don't need to get rid of her. So Myrtle is still with me. She doesn't look too great, but I think what I do is I'll show you her as she is at the moment. So brace yourself. So, oh, come on, Myrtle. This is Myrtle, and she's been padded out, and she's been padded out way too much. I mean, God, look at her. So she's got one of my old bras on, and I did follow a YouTube video. I was trying to pad her out using that video, but it just was not working for me. So she has been sitting in the corner looking forlornly at me to get her completed. So what I did do is I just get rid of her. Sorry, Myrtle. What I did do is I went on to Craftsy, and I found a woman that does these tutorials on moulage. So she does a tutorial on how to make up a moulage. So a moulage is basically a skin hugging bodice fitting that precisely fits your body measurement. So it's like a fabric skin. And I started working on this moulage last year, and like quite a few things, I got distracted and went off on a tangent and did something else. And it is basically where you measure yourself. So I got my daughter to help me with all the measurements, and you measure yourself and you take all these precise measurements and you map out this bodice, which is an exact replica. Well, it's the first stage of an exact replica of your body. And the next stage is to actually trace these patterns straight onto muslin and sew them up and put them on the dummy. And then once you've got a good fit, so if it doesn't fit exactly on Myrtle, which I know it won't do, this is when you start padding her out. So I will pad out this moulage because these are my exact measurements. So I will pad her out, and she will then be an exact replica of me. And I really want to get that done this year, because I find sometimes when I was doing the 12 for the V1336 dress, I was having to take my clothes off, put it on, which is not a problem, but it's really cold here at the moment. And I just thought, I could do without this. I really need to get Myrtle sorted once and for all, because she does take up some valuable space in my sewing room. And I was thinking, if I don't start using her, I'll have to get rid of her, and I don't want to. She's just been with me all the time, and I want to make up her and get her working and earning her space in my sewing room. So that project has come out of my whip box, and I really do want to get her finished. So you might see progress of that coming over the next couple of weeks. And lastly, I haven't purchased anything because you know that I'm on my my challenge, my January challenge of not spending any money on anything sewing related, anything at all really. But tomorrow will actually be my last day of January, so I will start purchasing again, but it just sort of slows you down a bit, which is quite good. So I think that is it for today. I hope you enjoyed the content, and if you haven't subscribed before, it'd be lovely if you did. And to all my lovely subscribers, I will see you all again next week. Enjoy your day. Bye.